Hey, welcome to the Trick Taking Table. I'm Gleeblorp Neeblorp. Welcome to a very, very delayed Halloween episode. What am I? I'll give you a hint. Oh, that's right. Gleeblorp, Gleeblorp, Gleeblorp. I am a sim from the hit video game series, The Sims. We are covering spooky season games. Trick Taking Werewolf by, I think the designer is Take, but this is coming from travelgames.co.uk, the wonderful Mr. Ben. This is trick-taking social deduction in 5 tricks. Very, very, very condensed. We're also covering Sail or Die by Loosey Goose Games. They do Surface Source Max, if this didn't scream same publisher, but it's designed by Andreas Price. And the hook to this one, you might be wondering, what are they similar? Well, werewolves, sharks, very scary, spooky season, Halloween, even though again you're probably watching this, it's probably coming out probably later November, so I'm sorry, maybe watch this in 11 months. It'll feel better, it'll feel right, except don't watch it in 11 months because these games just came out. So, Trick-Taking Werewolf. The hook is, Trick-Taking Social Deduction. It is done in 5 tricks. Very, very tight hands. A lot of things can happen, communication can happen in those 5 tricks. Super, super, super tight. Sail or Die. The hook is, it is a climbing shedding game where when you want to, there's no numbers. When you want to play more cards or play something someone else has already played, you have to kind of ante one of your points, which is totally fine, all okay, because you could get them back. In fact, if you pass and you're not the last one in the round, you get all the points back. So you could push your luck and be like, we're not playing singles anymore, we're playing doubles, but you have to give a point, and you're hoping that someone else will play on those doubles so that maybe you could pass, or maybe you bump it to triples and you're paying another point at that point. So kind of like a push your luck beginner climbing shedding game, which is really cool. Let's go to the table and I'll show you how to play Sail or Die and Trick-Taking Werewolf. Gleeblorp and Norp bloop. The deck in Trick-Taking Werewolf is 3 suits numbered 2 through 8. The 5s and the 2s have some special things about them, but also there are 3 special cards. There's a 0, 1, and a 9. Here we have a game of Trick-Taking Werewolf set up for the only 4 players. So you can shuffle the deck and deal 6 cards to each player. That's the full deck equally. The player that has the 1 incident card is going to lead to the first trick. As it says down here, if you're dealt this card, you lead to the first trick, and you must play this card into it. They're going to play that 1. It is a must-follow game, but when a heart suit is led, players can play whatever they want, and then it's just the highest card. In this case, this player over here, who is the werewolf, so I should explain, one of the players is going to get dealt the werewolf, and they are going to be the werewolf for the hand. It says, you are the werewolf, if you can't follow suit, you must play this card, and your role will not change if this card is played or flipped. So they don't want to reveal themselves too early, so maybe they play the 4 yellow. So coming over to this player, maybe they play the 3, and the last person over here plays the 7. So they would win the trick, and when you win the trick, you are going to pick a player and cast suspicion on them, thinking they're the werewolf. So maybe the sticker hedgehog thinks that other sticker is a werewolf, so they're going to point at them and say, I think you're the werewolf. When a player gets suspicion, they take one of their cards and they place it face down next to what they just played. The player who receives suspicion is actually now the lead to the next trick, so maybe they play an 8 blue. Again, this is a must-follow game, so coming to the sticker player up here, they would have to follow suit. Let's cover first the 2s. These are a special card in the game. It says, this card may also be played as that type of suit. So maybe they play it as a 2, but it's blue, even though it said it was red on top. The 2s are multiple suited. This player over here is going to play the 7 by following suit, and then finally it comes down to this player over here, and they are going to play the 5. The 5s are special in that if they win the trick, they can ask any other player if they have a heart in their hand. And that player has to tell the truth. But that's after the damage phase. But this did not win. So actually the 8 player won. They're going to pick someone to cast out. Maybe they think it's this player, because why would they play the 5 and not try to win with it? So they're going to pick that player. So this player actually was the werewolf. They're not out yet. So they just have to discard a card. And maybe they discard the werewolf card, which was important for reasons. Because, like I said, when you have the werewolf card, you'd have to play it if you tried to play off suit. So notice if someone played red, they would have to play this and out themselves as the werewolf. They don't want to do that. They're going to play face down there. And now they'll lead to the next trick. Maybe they do this as a show of, hey, see, I'm trying to win, as you can see, with the 5. This player over here is going to play the 2, following suit in a way. The player up here is going to follow suit. They're going to play the 2 as well, trying to play low, so maybe get the witch to trigger. But this person over here has to beat them. They're just going to do this. So now, maybe the nice Lionheart player who just won is still a little nervous of that hedgehog over there. They're going to point at them and say, I cast suspicion on you. When you're expelled, you're going to reveal whether you were the werewolf or not. This player up here says, I'm not the werewolf. They just got expelled, but now they know the werewolf is one of these 3 players. But as you can see, they've already played 3 of the 5 tricks. So now things are getting a little spicy. So the lead just goes clockwise to this sticker player. So they're going to lead. Maybe they play the 8. And so notice how this player, so they don't have any red. So it says if you can't follow suit, you must play this card. So they have to play this wolf tamer here. So that comes out. What the wolf tamer is if the wolf the werewolf and this card are played in the same trick, then this actually goes from a 0 to a 10, so it will beat the werewolf. Because how the Broken Hearts cards work is, we already saw what happens when you lead them. It's anyone can play whatever they want, and then it's highest number. But also, they count as following suit in any suit. So this would win if it's in the same trick as a werewolf. But we know the werewolf's right here. So then, coming to this player, they are going to play a 4, and it's just a 3-person trick, which is wild. So now they would think that person's good because, since they didn't fall suit, they didn't have to play the werewolf, but they don't know it's actually right here. So now the player who won is the student up here. So they're not sure. They know they're not bad, and they're hedging their bets. Maybe they think this person's the werewolf, so they pick them. This person says, I was the werewolf with 1 trick left remaining. Darn it. But if they would have picked this person, would have gone here, this one would have led, and maybe would have gone around. Then this person, thinking maybe that one's it, could have picked that one and knocked him out anyway. Kind of an example. There's a lot going on here. But essentially, the players all win if they kick out the werewolf, and the werewolf wins if they last those 5 tricks without being found out and kicked out and expelled themselves. And that's how to play werewolf trick taking. The deck in Sailor Die is 7 suits and 7 cards in each suit. There's also these wild cards where they come in +3, +2, and +1, and there's 3, 2, and 1 of those. Here we have a game of Sailor Die set up for 4 players, so no matter the player count, each player is going to get their own set of these little life or kind of point tokens, and then you're going to shuffle and deal out the cards depending on the player count. At 4 players, you deal out 13 cards each, and then you're going to decide on a start player, and they're going to get this cute giant shark that is going to denote the start player. So let's say it's this yellow pirate down here. Sailor Die is a climbing shedding game. The goal of the game is to get rid of your cards as fast as possible, but as you can tell on the cards, there's no ranks on the card. So the climbing shedding part, specifically the climbing part, is an interesting part of the game. When you have the lead, no matter if you're leading to a trick later on or at the start of the round, you can only play 1 card to start off the trick, and it cannot be a wild. Notice the pluses here. These can only be played with other cards to add to them. In fact, if you have just this in your hand, you have messed up. You will not be going out first. So the start of the game starts always with a non-wild first card. So let's say the yellow pirate played this purple. So after the lead, what players can do on their turn is one of 4 things, and they actually have a really nice player aid about it here. The first thing here is you can play as many cards, but in a new suit. So there's 1 card that's played, so you can play any 1 card, but it's of a new suit. So maybe this white pirate up here plays this yellow fin suit, coming to the blue pirate up here, they can play anything that has not been played. Maybe they play the blue, and then coming to the pink, maybe they play the light blue. This sounds like a must not follow game, but we'll get into it in the second example, is how it could be different. So as you can see here, the second thing you can do is you can play as many cards, but in an old suit. However, this isn't free. So looking at the hand here, this yellow pirate, maybe they really want to play a purple or maybe a yellow. So to do that, they would play the card in, they would discard the previously played yellow, but to do that, they have to pay one of their points into the center. It's called chucking, so they have to chuck one. So similarly, when it comes to the white pirate, they could, if they want to, play a different suit, so they could play green. Or maybe the blue pirate over here really wants to play a blue, so they could play blue. But again, they would have to chuck one into the center. The third thing that you can do, as you can see here, is you can play one more card in any suit. But again, it's not free, you have to chuck. So coming to the pink pirate here, if they wanted to play one more, which is 2, they could play these 2 pink, and it can go in, or, you know, they could just play that solo pink for free. But maybe they really wanted to play 2 pink, or maybe they really wanted to play, you know, 2 blue. And when you play one more card, because right now we're in a 1 card, now if they want to play 2, they will have to chuck. But now this will completely wipe all of the cards that were played. And so now players are playing at 2, kind of like pairs. So now when it comes to the yellow pirate, they could play 2 purple. And this is, again, free. They don't have to chuck anything because they're playing the same number of cards. Maybe this player up here wants to get spicy, and they want to jump to 3 right away. So they play 3. So then they have to pay 1, they have to chuck 1, and then they set these cards aside. Now this player over here has to play 3. And looking at their hand here, if they wanted to play, maybe they wanted to play 3 blue for some reason, they could use the wild, that counts as a blue, but since they played the same suit, they have to chuck 1. Now coming to the pink player, they could maybe play 2 green and a wild. That's for free because they just played a different suit. And so this could continue on and on and on until players start to do the fourth thing you can do on a turn, which is drop anchor, which is essentially passing. It's free. And also, notice here, you can retrieve all the points that you gave. So coming to this yellow pirate here, they could play these 3 cards, but maybe they're more interested in passing. So what you do is you take your hand and you put it down. Notice the anchor here, you drop anchor, and then you collect any of the points that you kind of wagered in front of you. So maybe the next player, the white player, also passes. They're going to get those. And now this player's nervous because it's just those 2, and maybe they think, oh, I gave in 2 points, maybe I'm also going to pass. So then they pass. So then they will collect those. Now, the pink player is the last one left, so if everyone passes, the trick will be fully wiped. The pink player will get this to denote that they're going to lead next, but all the points that they wagered are now out of the game forever. So then they will lead again a non-wild. So maybe they play a single pink. So the flow like this is going to continue until someone is out of cards. So for example, if the yellow player only had, 1 card left and then they played it, they are meant to announce it. And if they get caught and they don't announce it, they technically lose a point, like Uno. And then after the person who plays and goes out and announces it, you actually continue to play until it would be the turn with the player with the shark again. So kind of interestingly in this game, there's a fair kind of semblance of turn. So maybe this player over here plays the yellow, and then this player over here plays an orange, and then the round would end. You would discard the trick, you would discard any points maybe that are in the center here, and then also, in addition to that, the players who have cards remaining are going to lose a point per card. So this player has 6 cards, they're going to lose 6 points. And that's 1 round of Sail or Die. You're going to play 3 rounds, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. The leader of the next round is the person who went out, so the shark would just move to them. The game could end earlier than 3 rounds if someone loses all of their chips. There is a case where during the game someone could lose all of their chips. If that happens, you just can't do the actions that let you spend a chip, essentially, to be able to, plus 1 card or play the same suit. You're kind of limited that way. And you probably won't win because you have no points. But that's how to play Sail or Die. So that was Sail or Die and Trick Taking Werewolf. I forgot to bring back Sail or Die when I moved back here, but I do have Trick Taking Werewolf, so we'll cover this first. This was provided to me by Travel Games UK. Ben, the amazing Ben, sent it over, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But this is, first off, a fascinating production, because what they do is, since some of the cards have text on them, but a lot of them don't, and these are language independent, and there's not that many cards in the game, right? So they were able to print the cards that have text on them multiple times, and then you just have the rulebook that works in the different languages. So what's interesting is you actually have cards for French in the deck printed that comes with the game. Super clever. Thought that was fascinating. This is a small little production thing that I thought was really clever. To the game. Super tight, super, I don't want to call it a micro game, but it is very much a kind of a small little fight, a very like condensed idea of a trick-taking deduction, social deduction game. There are, you know, these tiny decisions, these small levers that really make it a game about, okay, if you did that, are you bluffing? Are you not? It's like you have these small windows of bluffing and trick-taking that get condensed in this really, really tight, tiny game. So it does feel, again, not really like a micro game, but it feels very compact, very, very bite-sized, pun intended. Though I think that lends itself to getting very like metagame. I think when we played it again, you got kind of like, oh, if they mean this, then maybe they mean that. And so it felt like a very bite-sized social deduction game and using some trick-taking trappings. I think this is most interesting to you if you like where someone can bluff a few different ways and it's like, which one would they go with? And then you try to suss that out. So I think it's levels of, I mean, comparing it to maybe Shamans or Inside Job, those have more trick-taking because the hand sizes are smaller here. But in here, this is a little bit more straight to the punch deduction. But I do think in terms of wiggle room, it is very tight. So it feels like, yeah, this is like a bite-sized level of both trick-taking, but deduction and social deduction and who's who. But it kind of gets to the punch, gets to the core very quickly because it is so tight. So that, if that sounds good to you, that's kind of what it is. It's a very condensed, like boom, boom, boom of this genre. It's, yeah, like if you took Inside Job Shamans and compacted it into, let's play fewer tricks, get right to the point, and that's pretty much what this is. So that is Trick-Taking Werewolf. On to Sail or Die again. So sorry I don't have it, especially because it is an amazing production. I think the little shark that passes around, the little bits that you have when you pass, they are amazing. I think Loosey Goosey Games does a great job with their production. It's a game that invites people in, it looks really fun, and I guess it is a good example of an intro climbing shedding game because it is so inviting, it looks so fun on the table, and the decisions are clean but still good. There's a really nice push your luck to it. I think my favorite mechanism of it is the pushing your luck to bet, I don't know if that's the right word, so like wager points that you might get back. So when you play more cards, or when you play the same cards, or when you kind of extend yourself to be able to play more, you are betting that with points. And you might get those points back. So it's really cool to play around the table and be playing with someone who will also give a lot of points out and play off that. And it's cool to push your luck in ways that are perfectly one-to-one related to points. And then maybe even getting those back to push your luck even more. I think it's such a brilliant system. The whole pass to get your points back is so nice. It is more simple, it is more intro. I think the fact that there's no numbers is still implemented pretty well. I think there's times when it's very obvious what to do, but there are times when you are pushing your luck and hoping it gets back to you. So I think as like an intro climbing shedding game, it it forgoes a little bit of like what might be tough to show off, like melds or that idea of passing. And it very obviously, since it ties points to passing, helps players understand the importance of passing and values it in a really interesting way. So I think this is, I've showed this to people to get into climbing shedding. I've showed it as like kind of an intro, and it helps that it's silly, it helps that it's goofy, the theme is bonkers. But the aesthetics of it, and I think the decisions, kind of that push your luck trapping, is really, really nice. Again, it's not like crazy climbing shedding strategy like Haggis or something, but I think there's something to a lighter but more fun sense of, not flippant, but like, let's throw some cards, let's push my luck a little bit and see how I can go out in a little lighter, little looser game. So I don't know if I'm I don't know if that makes sense. But yes, I would say Sail or Die is a good time, definitely more light, good intro for climbing shedding. And yeah, just fun. I mean, I played it with people who are used to really intense climbing shedding, and it is just like a fun, good time. So I'd say it's fun for everyone, just not the deepest of decisions. Definitely sometimes some obvious moves, but overall a good time. So that was Sail or Die and Trick-Taking Werewolf. Again, huge grain of salt. They sent me these games, so take that into account. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Bye!